Welcome back, everyone, to Talking It Out with Bachelor Nation. We have a very special show for you today. We have Blake Moynes from Katie's season. We have an exclusive interview with him, so we're going to break everything down from his recent breakup with Katie to what he's up to now. But first, you know how we do it. We got to get into our hot takes. Mike, I'm going to kick it to you. What do you got?
Yes. Thank you, Bryan. It's good to see you, homie. I always smile when I'm on our podcast Talking It Out. My hot take today, right? It goes with the TikTok that I saw. The TikTok that I saw said it was just a very successful women that she always sees. These successful women, they're boss ladies. They're doing their thing. They're really happy, and she's like this younger woman, her 20s, asking these 40, 50-year-old women like, what's going on? What's the piece of advice you have? And I this is not necessarily how I feel, but this is what was said. All the women unanimously said, "I'm single." That was the response. I'm single. They're not stressing.
Could guys say the same thing though? I mean, do men and women just stress each other out to the point where it's like not worth it to be in a relationship?
I will say there's a reason I don't have kids yet, and it's not because. The reason is because listening to my homies and listening to my parents, and just everybody else, I'm like, man, look.
I hear they're expensive.
Yeah, I hear they're expensive. By the way, right quick, before I get into the hot take, I just spent 2 weeks with my mom. I spent 2 weeks with my dad. Both of them like, bro, when you gonna have a kid? They both of them just like.
Welcome to the club, bro.
And you and Rachel are older than I am and married, so I know y'all are feeling it. So
yeah,
big time on that one. But bro, my hot take for today is: can you be friends with your most recent ex? Not any ex. I'm gonna be specific. Your most recent ex. And if so, is there a time limit that has to pass by before you can ease open the door of friendship?
Honestly, man, like, what do I always say? I need context. Okay, like, are you single, or are you in another relationship right now and trying to be friends with the ex? Because that obviously matters.
That does matter, but we're not doing Taylor Swift. Like, you're not breaking up and getting right into another relationship.
So this is hypothetical. You both are single.
T Swift fans, I love y'all. I swear, don't come at me. She got a strong fan base, bro.
You're dead. You're dead. You're dead, buddy.
But yeah, we're talking about you're still single. You broke up. You've been broken up for 3 months, and you both are still single.
Okay, how did you guys break up? Another question that needs to be answered.
It was amicable.
Okay, so you both agreed just to part ways. You're just not good for each other.
Yes.
Yeah, I think if one person didn't like break the other person's heart, there was no cheating or anything that is just like unforgivable, and it was just like, hey, look, we just don't work out well, then I don't see why you couldn't be friends with that person shortly thereafter. I mean, if you guys got a point. What's that? What good point?
You don't break no one's heart. I was told someone's always gonna get their heart broke. If you're together for an extended period of time, one or both parties.
Yeah. Usually one side gets their heart broken, and it's not like you could just jump into a friendship right after that, right? I mean, the person that got their heart broken is going to need a little time. Mm-hmm. So whether it be 6 months, a year, maybe they could start reaching out again to each other. But at the same time, it's like, if they broke your heart, are you really going to want to entertain that whole situation again, or is it kind of? It was a lost cause. They broke my heart. I'm just going to move on. There's no reason for me to talk to that person, after the fact. Like, we ain't never getting back together. Like, what's the point?
That's honestly how I feel. I've only been in love one time, and I was distraught. I mean,
she broke your heart?
I broke up with her, but she broke my heart. I think it was we both got our heart broke.
Time out. I need an explanation. I need the details. I need the details.
Time out, coach. You throwing a red flag?
I need a 20. I need a 20.
I need 20. I honestly, I think, I'm going to say it. Y'all can come at me. I think sometime, have you dated a woman and she's like, yeah, I was really out of the relationship for a long time already, though. We just finally now broke up.
So she had checked out.
Yeah, that's what, I think women say that more than men. Like, women be like, oh, I checked out. Like, because if I go on a date with a woman and, we start asking about each other's past, they're like, oh, yeah, I was out of that relationship 6 months, a year before, 3 months before we really broke up, right? And I think that's what my ex did with me. I think she wanted me to break up with her. And so I did break up with her, but I was heartbroken and distraught. But Bryan, I want to ask you, if you went on Paradise and I know your situation different. You and Rachel got together.
Hypothetically, I am single.
Hypothetical,
right?
Hypothetical.
Okay,
like,
let's make that clear.
You dated a girl that goes on to the next season of The Bachelor, right? And then you both, and that girl is your ex. Like, you were in love with her.
Like
and
the immediate, the previous person. Okay.
Previous to, let's say, The Bachelorette. Y'all both end up on Paradise together. How would you feel?
I mean, if I still had feelings for the person.
It's been 3 months.
It's been 3 months, like no contact, and we just meet each other on the beach.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends, man. I mean, 3 months at the end of the day isn't that long of a time. You know, am I over it? If I was over it and I was like, all right, that's a closed chapter in my book, I'm going to try to pursue other people.
You can try to pursue other people, but that's not what don't deviate from the question now. I'm going to call a timeout on you. Give me a 20.
Okay.
That's not what we asking.
What's the question?
How would you feel with your ex on the beach? Like the one that you were in love with, bro. I'm like the one that you loved.
The word that comes to mind is discomfort, like uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Joe and Kendall, right? Yeah. That wasn't an easy situation. I mean, Joe, like we said, did it masterfully, where he was able to navigate a present relationship with Serena and at the same time show respect to his ex, because they did care for each other and there really wasn't, you know, this animosity between them. It wasn't like they, you know, again, broke each other's hearts or anything like that. It was just, you know, the whole logistics thing or whatnot. And he was able to, you know, softly, you know, end that relationship in the moment as well on Paradise. So I think he did it great.
He did fantastic.
Honestly, that is kind of like the blueprint of how you would do it. I mean, Joe said that if Kendall really wanted him, right, she would have contacted him prior to the show. So if I was in the same situation, I feel like the way Joe handled it is the way I would have handled it, or at least I would have tried to handle it.
I will give you that completely. Well, at the time when I was in love, that time I was in my 20s still, and I would have left. I would have just been heartbroken. I would have seen her and cried and went off stage.
But time out. You said you broke up with her, but then you were heartbroken.
Bruh, it'd be like that sometimes.
Explain.
It'd be like that sometimes. You just know that's not right for you. Like, you gotta love. I preach love yourself.
Okay. So it was a hard, like, you knew it was the right thing to do, but it was obviously a tough decision. You ended it, and then
have you ever got a spanking by your mom? She says it's gonna hurt me more than it hurt you. That's what comes to my mind.
Yeah, when I was very little.
That's what comes to my mind right now. All seriousness though, I broke up with her, but yeah, man, yeah, it still hurts. But the point of my hot take was, can you be friends with your ex? I'm not really trying to be friends with my ex. Like, I can be cordial. Cordial's different than being friendly. Cordial's like, hey, I see you in the streets. I'm gonna say what's up to you. How you been? How you doing? Friendly is, I'm not trying to go get a drink with you. I'm not trying to tell you about my day. Yeah. I'm not trying to tell you about my highs and lows in life. I'm not trying to come for you for advice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's a situation where if you have moved on completely, I mean, yeah, like, have exes reached out to me throughout the 4 years? It's like, yeah, of course. But at the same time, it's like, you're not penetrating my world, my new world with Rachel. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly,
like,
bro.
I don't even want to try to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you'll never catch me in a DM or a message or anything like that to anybody from my past once I'm committed in a committed relationship. And that's the way I think it should be.
I completely agree with you. I've had situations to where exes have tried to reach out to me while I've been in a relationship. I'm like, yo, you know how good I treated your ass? I'm going to treat this woman as good as I treated you, so don't even hit me up.
Why is that? Why is it like once you're in a relationship, everybody comes out of the woodwork. Everybody comes out of the woodwork and it's like, hey, Mike, like, what's going on? Want to hang out? It's like, where the hell were you when I was like completely single?
Exactly. This is where I would want a woman to come on and give us her take on it, because as a man, I'm just going to simply say, I think they want to see if they still can get up in there. Just for the ego purposes.
I feel exactly. It's like all a pride thing, an ego thing. It's like, let me see if I can get what I quote unquote can have technically right now, you know, because they're in another relationship, they're married, engaged, whatever the case may be. But yeah, it's funny how that happens. I mean, guys do it too. Let's be fair.
No, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's some toxic shit right there. Like, just,
I've never done that though. I ain't going front. I've never done that. If I let you go, I let you go.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
All right, bro. So let's move on to my hot take. It kind of gets into a little bit of, you know, what we're gonna talk about with Blake, but the topic is messy breakups and how you handle those messy breakups. And we've seen, especially in a public forum, right? We've seen recently with DaniLeigh and DaBaby, both of them are all up on live, pretty much defending themselves, and DaBaby's on live, just to document everything, just in case they think that he hit her or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he's trying to protect himself, and she's calling him a deadbeat for kicking him out or whatnot. And then you have a situation like what we had with Katie and Blake. We haven't really heard from Blake. Which is what we want to talk to him about a little bit today. But we see Katie, she's basically doing a quote unquote 12 days of messy with Taylor Swift themed songs dedicated to one ex every day. So, and she actually called Blake out on the first song, Never Ever Getting Back Together, the song by Taylor Swift. I don't know if that's the exact title, but she basically gave Blake that song. So I think it's pretty clear that she isn't going to get back together with Blake based off of that. But at the same time, like, do you think it's right for somebody to put that out on social media? Like, how would you feel if you were Blake and you heard this from your ex? You know what I'm saying? Like, she's putting you on blast on social media. Okay, so let's talk in general terms. Like, how would you handle a messy break? You're Mike Johnson from The Bachelor. You know that, if you step out with a woman, there might be some paparazzi. You might be all up on the blogs. Like, and what if you guys break up? Now, all of a sudden, you're in the public eye. Mike Johnson just went through a public breakup. How would you handle that?
The same way that I've handled it in real life since being off the show. Quiet. None of y'all gonna know. Like, that's how I handle it. Like, quiet. That's our relationship. You feel me?
So time out. I understand your point because I'm the same way. Like, the people don't need to know. You know what I'm saying? Like, the people need to know as much as we let them know. But after that, like, I like to keep my situation private. I want to move on and just move on to the next chapter in my life. But what happens if the person you broke up with
was everyone knew about it?
No, now all of a sudden she starts bad-mouthing Mike Johnson in the media. Like, are you forced to clap back? Do you continue to keep your mouth shut? That's the question.
I think the answer is only one of two ways. One, you stay silent, or two, do like Kyle Kuzma did to Cleveland, their news station. Like, they were talking about him saying that, Kyle Kuzma only won a ring because of LeBron James. He's like, we have something in common. Like, just be comedy, just make it fun.
So like a smart zinger, one-liner, like clap back and just be done with it.
Yeah, just make it funny, like, to where it's all love. I think that's the only way to clap back in those situations, because it's going to make the other person seem even smaller and seem like they're the one that's being disrespectful, and you just took the high road and decided to be funny with it.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it.
I would revert to the saying, when they go low,
you go high.
We go high, baby. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
exactly.
At the end of the day, it's kind of like I feel like they will continue to put their foot in their mouths the more and more they keep talking about you on social media. Meanwhile, you're focused on what you got to do. You start focusing on your career, potentially meeting new people. And you just live your life, man. I feel like you got to be like a horse with blinders on and just...
You do.
Just ignore the noise. You know what I'm saying? Because all that's going to do is give you mental health problems, and just like, you don't want to be thinking about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're old news. Let them talk all they want. They're obviously feeling a certain type of way, but I think it's going to hurt them more if you don't clap back.
Yeah, if you're just quiet. Yeah.
If you're just quiet and you just continue on with your life, and it's like, wow, he seems to pretty much have moved on. Like, that's the real dagger in their situation. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's 100% how you're supposed to do it. Just be quiet about it. This woman I dated told me something that I'll always remember and thank her for. Privacy, not secrecy, right? That's within dating and if and when the relationship does end. Like, I'll be private. I may speak about it if someone asks me about it. I'll be like, yeah, this is what happened. I don't want to speak more than that, but I'm not going to be all open-ended about it. That's no one's business to know. Like, it's obviously a hurtful situation for both parties. You're trying to be petty and talk more about it, or want attention, or whatever you want to call it. I think it's a bit of both. Be petty and want attention, because people feed into that. right?
Yeah.
And then it goes to what type of following are you, building, right? Truly does though. And then there's certain parties to where you're going to be wrong, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And so you just got to learn how to, like you said, have blinders on and keep it moving. Continue to be a great human being and just keep it moving.
And plus, that doesn't even take into account, obviously, we're in the public limelight. I mean, think of all the trolls and the haters. They're going to start choosing side, Team Mike, Team X. You know what I'm saying? It's just going to get incredibly messy. And it's like, why do you even want to deal with that? You know what I'm saying?
That's the part that sucks. Despite whatever side you're on, as human beings, we will pick a side. Yeah. And we don't even know the story. And that's just for either party of that relationship or all parties of that relationship. That just sucks. You just don't know until they speak.
So if the ex essentially, comes out in a public forum and quote unquote gives their side, you would still stay silent and not give your side if given the opportunity?
I've learned, and I would say 90% of the time, I'm going to stay silent about it. Even if you ask me a million times, I'm gonna promote something. I'm gonna say, they asked me in the past. I had a book called Making the Love You Want. They would ask me stuff about that. Hey, I'm making the love I want. That's literally what I said.
Next question.
Time. Yeah, I'm making the love I want. Next question.
Got it.
But I want to hear Blake's thoughts on this though. Really,
I do too. There's been a lot been said in the media, and it's mostly been one-sided. So I definitely want to ask him about his thoughts on the whole situation.
Let's bring him in. Blake Moynes. Bryan, I've been traveling like crazy lately. And this past weekend, I was visiting some of the homies from Bachelor Nation in New York. And I got to the hotel. It was like 11 at night, and I needed a razor, right? I needed a little razor edge of my beard, and I didn't have nowhere to go. But I just knew that Postmates had me. I went on my phone. You normally think about Postmates when it comes to food, but I knew that they can deliver anything. So I got my razor via Postmates, man.
You teach me something every day because I didn't know you could order razors. But I use Postmates for the amazing food, man. I love Chipotle. Shout out to Chipotle. I always count on Postmates to give me a great meal with them. And I get all my favorite foods from the local restaurants in my neighborhood delivered, no leaving the house, and even better, no getting in the car or having to find a parking spot.
And like I was saying earlier, Postmates is not always about the burritos and the sushi. I can order things like toothpaste, phone chargers on demand too, or even my razor. That's because places like Walgreens and 7-Eleven are also on Postmates.
And one of my favorite parts, Mike, is when the app lets me know that my food or items have been delivered. Everything is right outside my door. It's just so easy.
I'm not going to lie, man. I love that part too. So all you got to do is just download Postmates on iOS or Android, find your favorite foods on there. And for one thing, if you're like me, you can get anything and everything from food to appliances as well, delivered on demand.
And for a limited time, Postmates is giving our Talking It Out listeners a little something. New customers will get 50% off your first 5 orders of $50 or more when you use code TALKITOUT. That's code TALKITOUT to get 50% off your first 5 orders of $50 or more. Max savings of $100 per order. Just download the Postmates app or sign up online. It's super easy. Offer subject to change and taxes and fees apply. Offer valid for 30 days after you add the promo code to your account.
So I need that 50% off, so I'm going to make sure I use code TALKITOUT.
Is your ex still using your Netflix? That's what one woman found out after she downloaded Truebill, which finds and cancels subscriptions with just one tap.
First off, I change my passwords after every breakup.
Oh, Mike, you petty. Come on now.
No, my homeboy got a divorce, and his wife changed the Netflix password the same day. I was so hurt. Oof. Anyway, Truebill is a new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions you don't need or that you don't want and simply forget about. On average, people save up to $720 per year with Truebill.
That's a lot of money. And because companies make subscriptions hard to cancel, Truebill makes it incredibly simple. Just link your account and Truebill will cancel your unwanted subscriptions in one tap.
And your Truebill concierge is there when you need them to cancel unwanted subscriptions, baby, so you don't have to.
Truebill has over 2 million users and helped save them over $100 million. Like Jennifer B., who says, with your help, our family has saved $587 per year on unnecessary subscriptions. I really didn't understand how Truebill could help me until we decided to save for a very large home purchase.
Truebill has helped me find subscriptions to things I hardly even remember about signing up for. It's so easy to use. You just got to go check it out.
Don't fall for the subscription scams, people. Start canceling today at Truebill.com/talkitout. Go right now, Truebill.com,
patreon.com/talk it out. It could save you thousands a year.
Blake, welcome to the show, my man. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good as I can be. How about you guys?
Doing great. Good as it can be.
Man.
That's how I need you uplifted today, bro. Good as I can be. You're doing great. You're living, you're breathing, you're here.
I like that motivation.
The shirt looks
Mike
good.
J comes through with motivation. Okay. Just rinsing you with compliments. Okay. I like it.
Okay. He sits back, Bryan. He's like, okay, I like it. Keep going, guys. Keep going. Then the shirt is fire. Seriously. Both of y'all make me look like I need to go to the gym more.
Well, I appreciate that.
All right, Blake. So you've become a familiar face that we know and love here in Bachelor Nation. I mean, I feel like I could consider you a veteran of the show.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
How are you doing, man? Just like give us your where you're at mentally right now. Obviously, we know about the breakup with Katie. You know, it's happened very recently. Just give us your thoughts on how everything is going with you right now.
Yeah. I mean, I would say the last 7 months has kind of been a whirlwind of emotion up and down. About 3 weeks ago, it was the lowest it's been, obviously. You know, I think when you go to a complete high of getting engaged and thinking you find your person to, 2 months after the finale of, the airing of the finale, crashing and going the complete other way, you're going complete different ends of the spectrum very quickly. So emotions have kind of been all over the place. And for the first week, it was a lot of frustration, sadness, kind of feeling embarrassed and foolish in a way. And then, the last little bit here, I've just kind of got back to, what makes me happy. And that's kind of focusing on wildlife conservation and what makes me happy. And so I've, kind of coming out of that, do I have little whirlwind spins back down where you start to think again and overthink? But for the most part, I'm transitioning out of that. And it's been good for the last week or so.
I want to speak on first, like the happiness and the highs in your life, right? We know you do wildlife preservation. What animal? I think you said before that you like to work with a different animal every year. What animal are you working with this year?
Yeah, so that's changed drastically just because of everything that's happened in the last year. So I've done a lot of advocating through my platform, made a lot of great connections with people. Nice. So this year coming up, I went and did some work with Big Life Foundation this year, which focuses very heavily on elephants, but also rhino. And Old Pejeta, which focuses very heavily on rhino as well, which rhino is my favorite animal.
Why is that, if I can ask?
You know what? There's something prehistoric about them that I loved Jurassic Park as a kid, and it's like they're almost like this modern day like Triceratops, and like there's this power to them, but they're very, very docile. Well, some species, being the white rhino, are very docile, and so I don't know, when you're there with one and you're bonding with one, it just gives you a different kind of feeling. It's hard to explain it.
Can you talk about that? Because I see the pictures that you're in with these wild animals, and I'm like, I'm sure a lot of people are like, yo, Blake that's crazy to be that close to that type of wild animal. Like, can you just take us inside, like how you bond with these animals? Because I think it's amazing.
Yeah, a lot of it comes in just trying to analyze the behavior. And, growing up, I've watched every documentary you could think of, and I've done so much research, and last year I went into schooling and things like that. But I don't know. It's a weird thing that I just kind of have. I worked with birds of prey before, and I kind of found myself, before going on the show, I went out to South Africa and worked with rhinos because I found out about the poaching crisis. And when I was there, working with orphaned rhinos, I fell in love with rhino there, just understanding what's happening to, adult rhinos that are being slaughtered for their horns and that. But I think it's just having an understanding and being very, very patient. Like when I was in Big Life in Kenya, and these truly wild elephants come up to one of the only remaining water holes because a pool had been turned to a watering hole because it's the end of the dry season. There's been no rain forever. And you're sitting there very, very quietly, and they walk up, and in any other world they would kill you, but because you're sharing this water hole, almost like you've seen in movies where it's almost like a joint, like, hey, this is the only water hole here, and animals kind of come together there, and there's like this muchal respect, like we need this water type. Wow. Yeah, it's like a weird. Crazy. So you're sitting there, and they come up, and you're looking at their trunk comes up, and you can sense they're sensing that you're there, and how intelligent these animals are that people don't recognize, and it's just this weird staring contest, and it's just I can't explain it. It's just something you have to try to do and feel on your own.
It's like you're an animal whisperer in a sense, right? Like you connect with them. Like, are you ever scared? Like, because I would be petrified being next to a rhino, just having him run me over.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, with Rhino, it depends. When we're working with white rhino, a lot of these, when it's in a sanctuary, or when we're at Old Pechetel, where it's a conservancy, these rhinos were raised in a zoo, and they're transferred to Old Pechetel because they're the last two northern white rhinos. So they're trying to artificially inseminate them. So they've been around humans a lot. So that's why I was able to get close to them. Gotcha. But otherwise, wild elephants and stuff, you don't want to get close. No chance.
No, just leave them alone. Yo, can you talk about, because you said when you guys are at the watering hole, you can just sense their intelligence. You can they see that you're there. You guys can sense each other. Talk about the energy exchange that you guys have, and how you must be as just a human being to not get your ass killed, right?
Like, yeah, it's a power change. I think we see ourselves as a dominant species, being humans, right? And we are. But when you put yourself into wild Africa, and not necessarily a national park, but yes, a national park. With this, where I was wild Africa. These are very wild elephants. You just realize you sink, and you're just like, hey, you are in power. You're in charge here. And it's when you transfer that power and you let go of that ego and all that, and you just see this big, magnificent tusker, which these big tusks that run down, and how old they are, and they've been around forever, and they're so wise, and it's a transfer of power in a way, and you just kind of like settle in, and you just like, it's hard to explain it. It's really amazing.
I can't even imagine whatsoever. I'll leave that to you. I'm gonna watch from my screen, my little 6-inch iPhone.
At most, I'm in the safari truck, looking off in the distance, look at all the animals. That's about it for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not for everybody. But if you ever get the chance to go out and do something like that, where it's a little bit behind the scenes and really getting in close and doing some things, just not safari, but like things you would never see otherwise, which I did with like living with the rangers and things like that. It's just that's getting uncomfortable, and that's where growth comes in it. And I really grew on that trip.
Talk to me about the growth and how you've grown on these trips, like being out there with these wild animals, and how it's made you a better human being.
Perspective, understanding, seeing the vast difference in how we live here and to how they live there. I mean, we definitely have our challenges here in Western society with social media and all the shit that comes just with how we live here. There's definitely challenges there. They have their own set of challenges, which is the simplistic ones, being protecting your crops from elephants. And if you don't, your livelihood's gone. And that's when things come in with like human wildlife conflict, where these locals, farmers, are in conflict consistent with elephants, because the elephants are also battling for the same land, the luscious land being these wetlands and crops, because there's nothing else out there, especially right now with, the change of the climate and the end of the dry season. All these animals are fighting with humans. And it's just the wildest things out there as to what they deem important, and making things simple, and it's just a very different world. And so when I come back here, I realize how great we really have it in some degree. We have our own challenges, like I said, but just putting things into perspective. I would love to go and live out there like half the year, just because it's a different world. It brings you back to like what really matters. What are the meaningful purpose things in life? Because out here, I think we get sidetracked in Western society. There's a lot of shit here that we put a lot of energy to that really doesn't mean fuck all. Yeah, sorry, I get worked up. I get worked up, but like
get worked up, baby. Get worked up.
But yeah, no, you go back to your roots. What's really meaningful, and they really show you that out there living with the locals.
No, I just, because that's a common theme that you see, and I'm sure you see this a lot, where it's due to deforestation and just all the things that happen to our earth. You're having those conflicts with humans and animals so much, all different types of species, right? Like what, you being a wildlife manager, like what do you see as the solution? Like how humans and these animals can cohabitate?
It's a very deep rooted issue that doesn't have, there's a lot of unanswered, we're trying to learn. There's organizations like Big Life right now that's there basically trying to manage and navigate between the local Maasai communities that surround the greater Embasel ecosystem with elephant, because elephant are so important for our world, because they are engineers of their environment and they're a keystone species. And so when there becomes a conflict, when humans start killing elephants and you take out basically a Jenga piece out of like a Jenga tower.
Go back to that, Blake. You said engineers are our environment. What does that mean?
So they are just like humans can really change the world and how we've kind of just taken over things.
Yeah.
Elephants do that in their environments in a different way. So by knocking over trees, spreading seeds through their droppings, each species plays a very vital role that changes the environment and changes things for other species. And so if you start to take away those populations of certain species, everything starts to crumble. And elephants are a big piece of that.
No, okay, that makes complete sense. Thank you for that right there. Talk about, you said you would love to spend like half a year over there, right? I mean, you're single now. Why don't you?
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if I'd necessarily be in Africa or, I was specifically in Kenya, but, I do have some really great opportunities coming up in the next year where I might be going down to South America, over to Africa again, potentially over to Thailand, where I'm trying to use my platform to do spread education awareness, which is a huge piece of conservation. Yes, funding is super important to, give these organizations leverage to do the things they need to do to help protect wildlife, but education awareness and a voice for animals is something that we're missing. I found that out after I started advocating very, very heavily for it. And I'd be an idiot and it would be a disgrace to let that platform leave and go to nothing. And so I'm giving it up to animals in some way because they need it. We need it, we need animals. And so we're essentially, it's doing it for us as well as it is for them. And so I've found a way to create content, bring awareness to great organizations doing great things and some of the negative things that are happening in our world with wildlife.
You know what I think would be so cool is if you had like a TV show. Like I could see you as like a Steve Irwin type where you're just like going around talking about the conservation of these animals. Yeah, man. I mean, you're around these animals, accent. You have access, and I mean, you know so much about these animals and what they need to survive in the wild. I mean, I just think it would be, just you documenting your journey through this. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I took my brother with me to Kenya, and so what you would have seen through my Instagram was just a small portion of what I took on my phone, but he took a broad view where we have 2 hours of footage that I'm going to slowly start releasing on my Instagram, showing the in-depth stuff that we did there, coming up close on elephants, sitting in with the rangers at nighttime by the fire, eating like goat bits and beans. And, you can't, they're speaking Maasai, you can't understand them. And it's those little moments, it's so going to be good for people to see. It's a view into things that I think that people would never see otherwise living with rangers in these outposts. It's really great guys. And they love the camera too. So it was nice to see them integrated and they wanted to be on camera with us. It's stepping into their world. They loved having us in there. It was we bonded great.
Well, not only are you're traveling, you bring your brother with you, you're starting to document stuff. I think Bryan, you should have a TV show. I think Bryan, you're right. Definitely should have a TV show. You also have a fund. Can you tell us about the Blake Moynes fund?
Yeah,
right?
so Blake Moynes. So I don't know if you guys remember the movie Jungle Book.
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay. Well, the kid in that movie, his name's Mowgli, right? He's one with the animals. Okay, so I don't know, something that rhymed with my name, and I just in some way was like always wanted to be that. One of my favorite movies as a kid. I was like, I know everything, Baloo the Bear and Bagheera and all of them, loved them all. So I was like, how can I connect the two? So Blake Moynes Fund, one with the animals, wants to do things for animals. And so I connected the two. And so basically I'm going to take this fund and provide grants to organizations that I go to visit that prove to me that they are doing the right thing for wildlife. I'm there to create content and awareness for them. At the end of my trip, if they deserve it, I provide them with essentially a check or a donation from the Blake Moynes Fund. And what I'm also doing to harvest that money is I made a commitment that anything that comes from my social media, because I'm very, very grateful for what's happened with my experience on the show and this platform that's kind of come with it. I fell in love on it. Everything's been amazing. It's like, hey, well, a lot of people would fucking die to be in this position. And there's a lot of people that care to make a difference out there. And so I found something where I can use my passion to make a difference. So anything that comes in from social media, whether that's Cameo, an ad, a sponsorship, anything, I'm taking a portion of every single time that I get paid in any capacity on social media, and I'm dumping into the Blake Moynes Fund that can then support the initiatives I want to go support. And so it's just everyone's kind of winning, and that's kind of how I've developed it and why I thought it was a good idea.
Amazing, man. It's like you're living your passion. I mean, that's what
success is.
Yeah,
Brian, that's the definition of success. Live your passion.
1000%.
So, Blake, congrats to you on that. You said we got to talk about it. You know, we want to be talking it out if we don't talk it out, right? You mentioned that. You mentioned that, you know, you found your love on TV and things of that nature. I think it's awesome that you're doing exactly what you want to be doing, what Bryan and I would call success. So kudos to you, shout out to you, salute to you. A part of that is, you know, when we break up, when we have a serious relationship that breaks up, we almost forget to continue to do what makes us smile, what makes us happy. So definitely, I'm really genuinely happy that you're doing that. How do you like navigate the things going on?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think for me, it's not that I have a regret. I don't regret anything in life ever. I think it brings you to where you're supposed to be. But I definitely think it's something that we're both, in a sense, a little bit, you know, feel foolish about and embarrassed about. And so, you know, I haven't been vocal on socials just because I feel like if we are and we use the breakup in a way to, it just elongates the process of like, you know, let's get through this. And so, you know, I've just taken it off social media. I don't engage too much with it. I know I'm here talking about it in some capacity because I know at some point I'm going to have to talk about it. Yeah, I mean, sure, I get tons of DMs and little comments and things about some of the Instagram posts. Yes. I sure do see some of them as cryptic in some way. I don't believe that she was really like being malicious with it or trying to, I mean, I'm sure she's trying to stir the pot in some degree, but I don't think it was trying to attack me really. I think she was trying to have fun with it. That could have been taken the wrong way. I don't put too much into it. I don't, but like, I can see why people would. I can see why people would, but I also want to extinguish this. I don't want to add to it and engage.
Yeah.
So,
and Mike and I were actually talking about that prior. Like, how do you handle a public breakup, you know, when it's messy and it's in the public limelight? I mean, so you're basically choosing the route to just get away from it all, you know, focus on your passion with animals and just essentially not respond to, you know, all that noise that you're hearing, you know, on her end.
Yeah, I got to remember like what makes me happy. It's one of the only things that in life that really move my emotion is when I'm like watching documentaries or fired up on a video about wildlife. And so it's like, hey, why don't I focus on that then? Why don't I continue just to focus heavily on that? And it'll bring me away from the noise, which is always going to be there because it's always in my ear. Whether it's someone sending me a post of something or a best friends, you say like all the dumb Bachelor stuff, like all that stuff. It's just like, it's just draining and it's exhausting. And so I just focus on the wildlife. You know, I don't necessarily, he thinks has helped in some degree with some of the posts because people come, but again, like it's her way of managing that. She's going to do what she's going to do. I'm not mad at it. Just, you know, do your thing, but I'm just not necessarily going to engage that way online.
Like you just dropped some gems there, some heavy gems. And I want to just appreciate that. One that you just helped me understand was the reason I remember you came on before on Talking It Out. And the reason that you said you went back to go for Katie is because you liked her sense of humor. I remember that specifically. And now you guys have broken up.
Yeah.
He said, hoo-hoo. I like you, so I don't want to go too crazy, right? But now that you guys have broken up, you were literally defending her almost in a way and saying, hey, that's how she's handling it, right? The reason you like her, you know, you like her because she's funny. She has a sense of humor, right? Now she's playing with it. So in a way, we almost can't be mad at her. That's just how she is. Like me, if it was me, I would handle it differently. But I really appreciate the way that you're saying, like, hey, that's her. She likes to have fun with things. Kudos to you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if that's how she's managing the relationship or the breakup, then okay, that's fine. I just need to, you know, deal with it my way. But I don't want to take away. If I were to message and be like, hey, I don't post anymore. We don't need to do that. If that's what's getting her through it and that's the way she wants to handle it, that's, you know, fine. And I'm not mad at it because I also am like, I'm so easygoing with things and like I can shrug them off. Do I love it? No, but I'm also not like, I'm not going to come at her for it. It's just, I don't need to.
Yeah, I feel like that's a very mature way to look at it.
Very mature.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's a lot of people wouldn't do it the way you're doing it. But obviously, man, I know this is a tough conversation and it's so fresh. Like, I mean, just to get your perspective, like what went wrong? Like what, in your opinion, was the reason why you guys broke up?
Yeah, so I would say we definitely fell in love on the show and hard, and it was fucking awesome. It was awesome. When we got into the real world, we started to have challenges, certainly with the distance, and trying to manage a relationship through FaceTime. We are very, very different people aside from the humor, unapologetically yourself, similarities that we have, that we are very, bold and out there in our own ways, which I don't think meshed very well when it came to real life, and the distance. And we just really figured out that we would be really, really great best friends because we could have a lot of fun together, but we don't have what it takes to be lovers in a long lasting relationship. We found that it was going to be absolutely exhausting because it became exhausting very quickly. And in that frame of time, there is no way that we should have been in that situation, feeling the way we were with the tension, all those things that quickly, when you're supposed to be in a honeymoon phase. And we weren't had that. We were so confused. We didn't understand why. And we took a lot of time to think about it, and there was a tension for a while, but we still want to fight through it, right? Because you're like, hey, well, the ring means a lot. We talked about that. We have a lot of pressure from the outside world. They're going to come down on us hard if this doesn't work. So we have a lot of pressures. But when it came down to it, it's like, we are very mature. We've been through relationships before. If we want to make this work, we will have to drastically change who we are as people to make this work. And I think that there's certainly adjustments you can make in relationships and need to make in relationships to make relationships work long term. But the way in which we would have had to change who we are as people to make the other person happy was just like, we can't do this. There's just no way. Yeah. And so we made the decision at the time that we did to break it off. And it was, we both cried on the phone. It wasn't fun. It was really weird. I hated it.
You answered that extremely well, man.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
That, thank you for being vulnerable and honest.
I think a lot of people in relationships forget that it's okay to bend, but never okay to break for all parties involved within a relationship. So I commend you, I commend Katie on doing that as well. And that's what it sounds like was taking place.
Yeah. I mean, just to touch on a little bit, I think what it comes down to is it's easy to try and point fingers and be like, when people ask me, well, what was it? And it would be easy for me to be like, well, she was this, and this. But you got to take a second to be like, okay, that's fine. That's the issues that you had on your side in terms of why it didn't work. But there's things that you're doing on your side too, that she's going this, and this. Are those things that I could have worked on better to make this work? It's not a one-sided, but we want to point the fingers. It's you got to understand. We were there in a mature way and being like, hey, I agree with what you said. That is on me. But we were just understanding. And so that's what makes this an easy breakup for the most part, because we're very, very mature and we were both on the same page with why this wasn't working. There wasn't a step along the way where we were agreeing the whole time. It's like, I'm glad what the hell is happening here? Yeah. And it was confusing because I think we're very confident people and very sure of ourselves in a lot of ways. And when something goes so south like that, it's like, it's a hurt to the ego. And especially when it's a big moment, when you think it's your person and you think it's your rock, and all of a sudden it's so hard to explain it. But I'm just glad that she handled that on the phone. And I remember telling her that, and she told me that too, because it could have been a lot worse and a lot messier. And I think we've handled it fairly well, regardless of everything that's kind of happened. It's been handled pretty well overall. And I do thank her for that. And I hope that she also reciprocates that, because I've been doing my best to make it go smoothly as well.
Looking back, Blake, the way obviously things have turned out and where we're sitting at now, would you have changed anything? Looking back, would you have still gotten engaged, gone through the steps that you did take?
Again, I'll say I don't necessarily regret, but Yeah, I mean, in some capacity, you look back and like, okay, well, was that a wasted engagement? And I don't want to say it's a wasted engagement because I remember how happy I was in that time that I did it.
I love you.
And when I remember how happy I was when I did it, and that feeling and like that heart pumping, like, and I remember I was like just over the moon, I still wouldn't give that feeling up because it was so, and so as much as it sucks and it's like, okay, I'll potentially have to do that again. And like, how do I, you know, it's a weird place to go back to when you failed there before on a stage like that. But I know, you know, I don't know. I don't think I would change it. I like how, I like where things have ended up in terms of we're supposed to be, and I'm just strongly telling myself that, and so I don't regret.
Dude, homie to homie, you're doing the right things. I mean, I say personally, don't regret that. But what I want to ask is, was there anything that you saw that, I like to talk about yellow flags. We always talk about green and red flags, right? Were there any yellow flags on either side? Because I like Katie as well. On either side that you're like, hey, this is a cautionary thing.
We've discussed personally the things that, you know, we felt we need to work on to make each other, to make it work with words of affirmation. What are those things called?
Love languages.
Those, we definitely didn't align there, which was a very, very obvious one that definitely sparked a lot of our disagreements. But I will say that we never had full out crazy arguments, yelling. Never. Every time we had an argument, it was very constructive and communication was good. But we just we didn't communicate very well where we needed to be lovers, and we didn't provide what we needed to for each other.
Blake,
I love the respect that you have for yourself, for Katie, for you guys' relationship that it was. Where are you guys standing now?
We're very, very cordial. I mean, you know, if I have a very, and I've said this before on the show, actually, I think it's very, very important for me anyways, that if I've been in love with somebody and had that passion and shared something, that a type of love too, that you don't necessarily share with your family sometimes. When you're really, really deep in love with a partner, there's a different kind of love there and different things that they know about you that your family wouldn't. And when you have that with somebody and those little moments, you remember those little things, they know some things about you and how you are more than anyone else. And I don't know, I think you live one life, and you don't come across that many people in life that know you like that and will respect you like that and have loved you like that. And regardless of how hard it is sometimes to go through breakups and make it cordial and make it easy, it's easier to hate. It's easier to find all the reasons to hate her. It's easier to hate her. It's easier. But the better thing, and the better thing for both of us, and the better thing for me, is to find it, to make it, to love her and to respect her, to find a way to do anything for her. Because I hope that she would do it for me in this one life, because you don't connect with anyone like that. And just because it's easier to fucking hate her, don't be uncomfortable, work through it, and try to be cordial, because you don't come across those people very often. So with my recent exes, and I hope Katie becomes one of them, I have no issues with them. And I hope, and I would do anything for my last two serious relationships as I hope they would for me. And I try hard to make sure that we're in a great place, because that's important to me.
Speaking of serious relationships, Blake, what did you learn from this relationship with Katie, and what are you looking for in a future relationship?
I think I can be super independent sometimes, which can come off a wrong way. Independence is very important to me. Very, very. I mean, she was very aware of that, and that wasn't. I mean, it was a bit of an issue, I would say, but trying to let go of that independence a little bit more. But again, like, this is something like, if you are that way, you just need to find someone that really likes you for that, not necessarily having to change that.
I'm sorry. I'm just smiling over here because, like, Bryan asked a question in a very open-ended way, and one way that you know someone is being mature is when they start with themselves, how they could be better. And so I'm smiling because I'm like,
it's a two-way street.
Yeah, dude, wow. You're starting with yourself. That's just great for you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, I would say independence is one thing, and I've kind of learned through my mom, to be honest with you. I've leaned so heavily into, like, you got to be fully happy and on your own before you can be with anybody else. And I'm super happy on my own, and I can be, and I always will be on my own. But I know there's an element that another person, when it's the right person, they can bring an extra 30% of happiness to your life. And so,
yes,
you know, I get sucked into independence sometimes, where I focus so much on that. But I think that would be the main thing. But I mean, for her, and like what I know, you know, I think it's diving too much into it. What I would say was, what I'm looking for is, you know, I think it would be important for me to find someone that has a lot of the passions that align with mine. You know, when I'm away, maybe they would really love to come with me, or really have a love for wildlife, that they really want to join in on that with me, and we can really change the world that way. Which I think Katie was wanting to do to some degree, but I think is going to appreciate me for that independence. And I also don't take things too seriously enough sometimes, where I joke around a lot. I'm very easygoing. I'm like, I shrug everything off. And I think sometimes relationship, when you're looking for some serious moments, I can lack there, especially when it comes like the love aspect and being like, but again, like I don't see those as major issues, or, you know, I was never a dick or an asshole. You know, I just, there's some things the way I am that don't line up with every type of person, just like everybody else.
And we're not going to line up with every type of person. It's amazing that you know yourself. I think that there's something we got to debunk out there. People say that opposites attract, but people that have similarities stay, right? And so that's something that I want to debunk out there. But we got a few other things we want to debunk with you. Okay. I personally think, Blake, bro, you've had 3 relationships with 3 beautiful women all in the last 12 months. I think your heart needs a break. But answer this rumor for me. Are you going to be the next Bachelor?
No, I am in no way prepared to go through meeting 30 women, especially after all that. You know, I think my ego's hurt right now. You know, I feel like an idiot with how things kind of played out, when you're so sure about something and you feel like you found your rock, to all of a sudden be able to turn that rock and try to find another one, you know, within the time frame that we have. No. Will I over time, when I'm ready, start to trickle out and start dating again in the real world? Yes, because I'm trying to find my person. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm not going to wait to get to paradise and not date anyone until paradise. Then all of a sudden I'm ready again. No, when I'm ready in the real world, I'll start dating in the real world, and I hopefully will find my person. I'm not thinking about a show. It seems hectic to me and exhausting. And so I'll be dating in the real world when I'm ready, and I don't know when that will be.
So based on that answer, are we going to see you on Michelle's season?
Yeah. Yeah. 2 more episodes. I'd come in. Actually.
2 more episodes. He's got it there.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to see him there. We're not going to see him in Michelle's season. He's going to be in paradise summer of 2020.
No, I would be. I think you'd be very surprised to find me there. I've been ABC and the show has been very, very good to me, to always checking in on me with how the breakup's been going, they've been very, very good. And one thing I did say to one of them, is like, I'm done, man. Like, I'm done, like, thinking I found my person and coming on gunning for some. I'm done. I'm sitting back. I'm not chasing again on this fucking show ever. Like, I can't. Like, I just can't. Like, I put myself out there too many times, being too bold, really thinking I know, and I get there and it all falls apart. And so my approach is completely different in life now. Let it come to me naturally, maybe in the real world. Don't put something in my head, what I think is going to be on Instagram. I'm done. Let it come naturally, because I've failed that way 3 times now, and I let the whole world watch it. So let's try a different approach.
So is the door completely closed on any of the Bachelor shows?
Pretty well. I really hope to find a person in real life, to be honest. Yes.
Lies.
I don't know. I'm pretty closed. I don't know.
Now, Bryan, the way this is what's going to happen, Blake. You're going to find an Australian woman, specifically from Australia. She is going to be like wearing those khaki shorts, a green top, a hat. She's going to have white stuff all over her face from like the sun stuff.
Yeah. And they're both going to save all the animals.
They're both going to save all the animals. That's what's going to happen. That's exactly.
I love that accent. I love that accent. So we'll see. I have a trip booked to Australia. So
hey, there you go. Call me. I'm trying to go to Australia. That's one country. That's one continent I haven't been to yet. So call me up.
Right. So Blake, we obviously just talked about a couple rumors that are out there. Like, what is the weirdest internet rumor that you've heard about yourself?
Oh God. You know, I wish I wrote down lists them because, like, you know, you come across them all the time. I love scrolling my DMs because the craziest stuff comes up in there, and it gets me every day. It puts a smile on my face. It's just like, what?
But, a smile on my face.
Can you expand on that? Like, what are people writing in your DMs?
Oh, geez, man. It's more like it's just the chirps and stuff. I mean, listen, the dating through bachelorettes thing, it's definitely gotten old, but I get it very regularly still. There isn't a major thing that people, rumors.
In your defense, it was only supposed to be 2 bachelorettes.
Okay, this is the other thing. Okay, this is one thing I need to get off my chest here. All this shit that was in love with Claire and love with Tayshia. Guys, I never said love one time. Get that out of here. And
PSA,
say what it says, boy. Say
it. Like, everyone's like, you fell. I'm like, guys, like, find the clip where I said this. I've never ever said I loved either of them. Claire came on with the wrong headspace because I knew it was going to be her for 3 months. So I put myself in a space like, this is going to work. I found all the reasons to make sure that I could be like, was in it and like wanted to make it work. Tayshia comes on, you're not saying no because she's sweet, she's bubbly, she's fun to be around. You're going to see that through. It never went anywhere. Never love. Ask her yourself. And then Katie was one that you saw me really struggle to open up and finally say I love you at the end, really late. So, like, get off me with the love stuff. I was never in love with the first one.
Get off of me.
Okay?
Get off me, okay? Get off my man.
Every time it's just like, yes, I get it. You're allowed to chirp. You're allowed to come at me. But let's get it straight.
Yo, let's get this straight. I have to ask you. I mean, Blake, I watched Katie's season, and there was one person that was like coming at you from like before you even stepped in the door. Aunt Lindsay.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Just that reaction. Oh, geez.
Yeah. I never got to meet her.
Oh, wow.
After the show. Yeah. So, you know, we had plans to meet her family, extended family, at the end of November for Thanksgiving. We obviously.
Oh man, this is crazy.
Yeah. So, you know, I didn't get to meet a lot of them, which is unfortunate. But she's probably licking her chops right now, being like, I told you I was right, you know? So, you know, everyone's coming at her, but, you know, she was looking out for her. Again, I can't say anything bad. It was a big test for me in the moment, because I remember like looking around being like, I'm getting killed right now by this woman, but she was looking out for Katie. But yeah, it was a lot to manage in that situation for sure.
Definitely. Yo, I have to ask, you know, you said that, you know, I'm paying attention to you, right? That's what we do as podcast guys. You said that podcast hosts, you said you're, you know, paying attention to Claire. Claire's single now, so if she hit you up, what's up?
No, I mean, even just out of respect for, you know, the whole Dale thing, and we don't align. We certainly don't align. I think we both kind of know that. And, you know, when something's failed, shipped like that, it's just like, no. And I've talked about this before. It's just great girl, but no.
I completely agree with you on that. Sailed ship thing, man. The ship has sailed.
He's looking forward, man. That's it.
Yeah. I'm in a good headspace. I don't want to feel like I'm taking a step back, and so that's why.
Yeah, man. I feel like, I mean, just hearing you speak, I feel like you got a really good head on your shoulders. Like you know yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like you.
Yes, you do.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that is only going to help you in your relationships moving forward. So, I mean, I wish you the best of luck, man.
Well, I appreciate that. I do appreciate that a lot.
Yo, how can people, I wanted to know, like, help with the conservative efforts? What can they do? What can we do?
Yeah. So, you know, aside from just, you know, putting funds into that Blake Moynes fund, which is great, you know, but a lot of that effort's going to come from me, from all the social stuff that I do. I'm going to keep dumping money in there. And as I made that commitment, a lot of it comes from just, you know, engagement and sharing, because education awareness is huge. I don't think that the government and the news does nearly a good enough job getting out information that we should be seeing.
Bro, news says negative shit.
But even then it focuses on things that's like, okay, but like, you know, we're down to only, you know, 85 jabbing rhinos in the world, which, you know, it's, but why are we not, I don't know, still think, well, again, this is meaningful to me, so maybe not to everybody else, but just education, awareness about like, I don't know, creatures on this earth that deserve to be here more than we can do, because we just destroyed everything. I don't know, just awareness, education, share stuff that's important, that keeps the planet alive and thriving and healthy. And that's making sure that species don't go extinct because we need them.
Bro, do you have a TikTok? Because I think that like you can get your message out there quickly and fast through TikTok.
Yeah, I don't have an account. I always thought it was like a dancing thing, and then people have definitely been pushing me for this.
I laugh at Bryan stuff every day, bro. He's he's a chiropractor. It's funny.
Hey, listen, Rachel just got into it. I mean, you'll definitely cave, man. I feel like I think you should have a show. I think you should run some content on TikTok. I think it would be great with the animals.
Yeah, seriously. I think in time it's something I should probably do, and I think it'll get there. I have a lot of really cool trips, like I said, coming up. Some penguin related ones, some stuff that I get it. Yeah, so maybe it'll get there, and if it does, then I'll be sending you guys those links.
Definitely, please do, man. Well, is there anything else that you would like to get off your chest to say to the people on Reddit?
Ooh, the people on Reddit. Yeah, I don't go there. That's a dangerous place.
That's good advice right there for anybody out there.
You can't. Yeah, I mean, you can't stop people send it to you though, right? So like, the odd time I'll fall into a little, but even then I try to stay away. No, I mean, the Reddit people. It's like, guys. No, I mean, shit. It's kind of what keeps Bachelor Nation thriving in some way, right? So like, these people, whether the opinion's negative or we signed up for it. And it's truth opinion. It's truthful opinions what people have because they can hide there. So, if you really want to know the truth, what people think, go there. If not, stay away. I stay away. I focus on myself. And I don't want to see anything bad about anyone that I even like. You know what I mean? I just stay away. I just stay.
I don't think there's nothing.
Don't dip in them.
There's nothing wrong with Reddit. But I think for you, it's like what you said earlier and what you showed earlier. If you, the person that were in the relationship and the person at hand, the topic of choice, if you're not mad about it, why the hell should anyone else be mad about it?
Got a point.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. I mean, I think it could be people necessarily like defend, I think he's just like, he stopped giving people reasons to be upset at her, but she just, again, that's her, like, she doesn't care. She's unapologetic herself. She's going to do her thing. Right. Yeah. So, Reddit's one that I keep blocked. I'm going to continue to keep blocked.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Well, I definitely appreciate you on, man. I genuinely would love to go on a trip with you. I love animals, not maybe as much as you do. So I like them. I like them. You love them. But if I can help out and go on a trip with you, I'm about that life.
Well, listen, I think I've had this discussion before with a couple of different organizations, and I think, I think overall in general, I think Bachelor Nation can do a better job. And I'm not saying necessarily the fans, but the people that have been involved with the show, from contestants to leads across the board, we get a lot of riff about like, oh, they're going to be an influencer. Okay, well, that's fine. But what are you influencing with, and how are you using it? Yeah. Right? And we collectively, as people that have been a part of the show, can definitely be better. And how can I do that? Well, I think it would be cool to start bringing on some other people that have been on the show and just letting them dip into my world a little bit and showing them what that's all about. And it's just education and awareness, and using influencers and other big names to help spread messages about things that are really important. Yeah.
So speaking about spreading the word, man, like, is there a website? I mean, obviously we could go to your Instagram page and whatnot, but like, what resources are out there for the conservation efforts?
Yeah. So this is one thing I originally started, when I really wanted to learn a lot about it, I would go to all different kinds. It would be Google, but I just like, this is too hard. And there's too many big, long articles. If you go to my following on my Instagram page, you will see that there's about 800 people I follow. About half of those are conservation related, wildlife related, climate change related pages that literally pick out the pertinent, important information from articles, and they put it in little blurbs for you with a photo. And that's how I keep up on all the information and the current stats and things that are going on in the world. And so put it in front of your face. You're on Instagram every day for way too long, way longer than you should be. So make it upon yourself to put in things that aren't just like, not just dumb feed stuff that's like engaging. That's how you do it. But you got to do it, because no one else is going to follow those accounts for you.
Very true, man. Well said.
That's great advice, man.
Well said. Well, we love you here on Talking It Out. Thank you for speaking your piece. Thank you for not denouncing Katie. Thank you for, still showing her love. You like her still just for, that's who she is. We love to see it from you.
Love the vulnerability, man. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to come on here, and it's a scary thing to talk about it, and you're always kind of navigating. Okay, well, how do I do this in a way that isn't stepping on her toes, or I don't want to say the wrong word or the wrong sentence. It's going to upset her. And it's a weird way to do that. I think at some point we're gonna have to talk about it. So I'm glad I did it with you guys because you guys were very respectful in the way we went about it. So I appreciate it. Back your way.
We appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Keep being great.
No worries. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yo, but you know how we talked about at the beginning of the episode, Joe, how he handled the situation with Kendall, completely diplomatic, just a gentleman personified. That's exactly what Blake did when you get out of a relationship that's in the public eye. He spoke his truth. He was honest. He was vulnerable, and
he was
still
respectful.
Respectful, and still did not come and condemn Katie.
I agree, man. I mean, and something you mentioned during the episode is a lot of times he kind of started talking about himself,
Yes, I love that.
What things he could have done better in the relationship. And I think that's the problem with a lot of people out there when they get out of relationships. They just want to blame the other person for this or that. But, again, like we talked about, it's a two-way street. So you always got to look inward sometimes with yourself and, realize the things that you could have done better so that you can take that into your next relationship and make sure you don't make those same mistakes.
Oh, definitely. For him to say that, it resonated with me when he said, I'm a bit too independent. We normally don't hear that. And that's such a great insight and introspection within him. So I'll definitely shout out to Blake in regards to that. And I love what he has going. He gave a gem in regards to, he had his heart broke, right?
Yep.
Him and Katie loved each other. And I'm sure they still definitely have love for one another. But he knows that his passion, what makes him happy, what makes him thrive, what makes him wake up in the morning is animals.
Yeah.
Right? And giving to the animals. And that's what we all need to take advice from. Like, if the sad thing does happen when you break up out of a relationship that you love, continue to do what sets your soul on fire.
Yeah, like immerse yourself in your passion. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's going to take your mind off things. Like you heard him say, he's like, he doesn't have his eyes on
all day,
the internet and all the stuff that's going out there. You know what I mean? He's focusing on his passion. He's immersing himself, like I said, and it's taking his mind off of things. And that's what you want to do when you're trying to get over a tough breakup.
Definitely. So, half the time we were on the phone with him or on the call with him, I'm like, damn, why do I not see his IG posts? Because, you don't see everybody's IG stuff. Yeah. I'm like, man, I want to see his stuff. I follow him. I want to see what's going on in his life. So
right. I want to see these rhinos, these elephants.
Like he said the rhino. I'm like, man, I don't see the rhino.
My damn little feed. My little wildlife feed.
Dude, man, I really wanted to ask him about Tiger King season 2. I really did, but it's all good. It's all good. Until next time.
Yeah, and guys, I think you're going to love this episode. I'm sure you did. For everybody out there who tunes into our show every single week, we appreciate you. And we hope you enjoyed this episode with Blake and how vulnerable he was.
Definitely so. I got to let all of our Talking Out family know we are casting for the upcoming seasons of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. Yes. Head over to bachelornation.com/apply. That's bachelornation.com/apply to nominate yourself or someone else. And baby, you always know we love to hear your opinions, your stories, your insight. So please don't forget to like, comment, follow us on social at Talking Out BN on Instagram. That's Talking Out BN on Instagram. Bachelor Nation on TikTok and Facebook. And on Twitter, of course, is Bachelor Nation. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and listen to us on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. And baby, don't DM me no more until you hit that subscribe. We love y'all.